The sky above Earth tore open in a sudden rupture of light and shadow. Hundreds of colossal ships, sleek, black, and alien, swarmed into orbit like a hive descending on its prey. Panic surged through every city, every town, every village on the planet's surface. People froze, staring upward as the first pulse cannons fired, obliterating New York's skyline in an instant. The air screamed with the thunder of falling buildings, and screams echoed from every corner of the world. Governments scrambled to issue orders, but their voices were drowned beneath the roar of destruction. In a battered fighter jet taking off from a devastated airbase in Eastern Europe, Maya clenched the controls, her knuckles white, her breath steady despite the chaos. Her squadron had been ordered to intercept the alien fleet, a hopeless mission, but one she would fly anyway. Control, this is Valkyrie 1. Targets incoming. Request permission to engage. Maya's voice cut through. The static. Permission granted. Do what you can. Godspeed, came the weary reply. Maya's heart pounded. This was the moment they had dreaded for years, the nightmare scenario everyone feared. First contact, and it came in fire and ruin. Her squadron formed up, 12 battered fighters against an armada of alien warships the size of small cities. The odds were astronomical, but there was no turning back. The first volley of alien missiles streaked toward them, lighting up the night sky like falling stars of death. Maya twisted her jet into evasive maneuvers, weaving through explosions. As her squadron scattered and regrouped, "Focus fire on the lead cruiser," her squadron leader commanded. "If we can take down their command ship, we might buy time." Maya locked her targeting systems and launched a barrage of missiles. Explosions rippled across the alien vessel's hull, but it barely slowed. Alien fighter swarms emerged from the mothership's shadow, sleek, fast, and deadly. Dogfights erupted high above the Earth's surface, a ballet of death painted against a burning skyline. Through the chaos, Maya spotted something that stopped her heart. A civilian shuttle caught in the crossfire. Trailing smoke and doomed. "No way I'm leaving them behind," she muttered. Diving through enemy fighters, she pulled the shuttle from the brink, guiding it toward a battered space station still holding out in low Earth orbit. Back on the ground, humanity's defenses were rallying. Soldiers armed with salvaged weapons fought alongside volunteers wielding whatever they could find, improvised explosives, hunting rifles, even bare fists. From ruined cities to underground bunkers, a single truth spread like wildfire. Humans, do not surrender. In a hastily erected command center deep beneath the ruins of London, General Amina Rao stood before a holographic display of the alien fleet. Her eyes burned with fierce determination. "They came for conquest," she said, voice steady, "but they found resistance. We fight not just for survival, but for our right to stand unbroken." Across the globe, radios crackled with messages of defiance. Stories of ordinary people standing against impossible odds. The mother who led a group of survivors through alien-occupied streets. The engineer who rigged a power plant to overload and destroy an invading ship. And at the heart of it all was a growing realization among the invaders. Earth was not a prize to be taken with ease. Back in her cockpit, Maya's HUD blinked with warnings as her fuel dwindled. "We're not just fighting for our lives," she whispered. "We're fighting for our future." As the alien fleet pressed their assault, they found something unexpected in their path. A species whose spirit burned brighter than their weapons, whose will refused to bend or break. No surrender, no retreat. Humans don't back down. And the war for Earth had only just begun. The world was burning, but humanity refused to burn with it. In the weeks since the alien fleet's brutal arrival, Earth's cities lay in ruins, their skyscrapers twisted skeletons against a smoke-darkened sky. Yet amid the devastation, something extraordinary was unfolding. Old rivalries and bitter divisions were melting away in the face of annihilation. Leaders who had once viewed each other with suspicion and disdain were now locked in urgent communication, forging alliances born from necessity and hardened by shared loss. In a makeshift war room carved from the depths of Moscow's underground bunkers, President Ivan Petrov of Russia sat beside General Amina Rao. Beside them, diplomats from former enemy nations argued fiercely, but always with one aim: survival. "We put aside everything," Petrov said grimly. "Borders, grudges, old conflicts. The alien fleet doesn't care. Neither do we." Across continents, millions of civilians joined the fight. In New Delhi, an electrician named Ravi hacked together a rudimentary EMP device that disabled an alien drone swarm targeting his neighborhood. In São Paulo, school teachers organized barricades, turning classrooms into fortresses. In Sydney, retired engineers modified cargo planes into makeshift gunships, armed with salvaged missile pods. It wasn't just armies battling. It was humanity itself. Maya, now reassigned to the newly formed Earth Defense Coalition, flew missions daily, her squadron patched together from jets of every make and origin. The jets bore hastily painted insignias: flags, symbols, slogans, signs of a fractured world united in defiance. Her squadron mates were a living testament to that unity. Jamal, a former rebel fighter from Africa; Elena, a pilot from the now collapsed European Union; and Kaito, a tech specialist from Japan. Different languages, cultures, histories, yet one purpose. "Ready to give them hell today?" Jamal asked with a grin as they scrambled into their jets. Maya nodded. "They didn't expect us to fight. Let's remind them why humans don't back down." On the ground, scientists raced against time. A team led by Dr. Laila Hassan worked feverishly in a hidden lab beneath Cairo, decrypting fragments of alien technology scavenged from battlefield wreckage. Their ship's shields operate on a frequency we can disrupt, Laila explained to her team. "If we can generate a signal at just the right wavelength, we can take down their defenses." It was a small victory, but in a war where hope was scarce, it was enough to ignite a fire. News of the breakthrough spread quickly. Across battlefields, human pilots reported alien ships flickering and faltering under unexpected assaults. Resistance fighters found new courage as the alien invincibility shattered. But the aliens were not idle. Their commanders, faced with a relentless enemy who refused to yield, grew ruthless. Orbital bombardments intensified, leveling entire regions. Propaganda flooded global networks, seeking to fracture human morale. Yet the response was only fiercer. "Every city they destroy," General Rao said in a broadcast to the world. "Every life they take, it steals us. We fight not just for today, but for every tomorrow." In one of the war's most desperate moments, Maya's squadron was sent to defend a critical supply convoy in the Arctic Circle. The convoy carried not just weapons and fuel, but hope. Under a sky pulsing with the eerie light of alien warships, Maya's fighters danced through enemy fire. Missiles streaked past, engines screamed, and dogfights erupted in a swirling storm of metal and flame. When the last alien fighter fell and the convoy slipped through to safety, the pilots knew something vital had changed. They were no longer just surviving. They were fighting back. Humanity's defiance echoed across shattered cities and war-torn skies, an unbreakable anthem of resistance. The alien fleet had come expecting Earth to fall. Instead, they found something terrifying. A species united by fire, forged by pain, and driven by an unyielding will to survive. No matter how fierce the storm, no matter how dark the night, humans stood together, and they would not back down. The alien fleet had come to Earth expecting an easy conquest. Instead, they found themselves in a war of attrition against a species that refused to break. But even humans knew they couldn't survive on grit and willpower alone. They needed an edge. That edge came in the form of a crashed alien scout ship, found smoldering in the deserts of Kazakhstan. Inside the wreckage, scientists and engineers from the Earth Defense Coalition worked around the clock. Among them was Dr. Lila Hassan, whose team had already unlocked crucial secrets about the alien technology. The ship's energy shields operated on a complex frequency pattern, a pattern humans could learn to mimic, disrupt, even destroy. With every breakthrough, hope surged stronger. Maya sat in the cramped briefing room of the newly established coalition headquarters, listening as generals and scientists detailed the plan. "We'll use the prototype disruptors on our fighters," explained General Amina Rao, her voice calm but resolute. "If we can bring down their shields, we can hit their ships where it hurts." "Can we do it in time?" Maya asked, eyes locked on the holographic image of the alien battleships. "We don't have a choice," Rao said. "This is our turning point." Days later, the first squadron equipped with the new disruptor tech took to the skies. Maya led the charge. The moment their fighters engaged the alien warships, something remarkable happened. Shimmering fields of energy flickered and vanished as the disruptors sent pulses through the alien shields. One by one, the great vessels of the invaders grew vulnerable. Missiles and laser fire tore into their hulls, and explosions blossomed across the fleet like deadly fireworks. The aliens, caught off guard, scrambled to respond, but Earth's pilots, fueled by desperation and newfound technology, pressed their advantage. Amid the chaos, Maya's jet dove through a maze of enemy fighters and debris. Jamal's voice crackled over comms. "Target locked on command cruiser, ready to fire!" Maya nodded and launched her payload. The cruiser erupted in a blinding burst, its command systems fried. Alien ships nearby faltered, losing coordination. On the ground, the impact was seismic. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity's forces held the upper hand. Underground resistance cells coordinated strikes against alien supply lines. Engineers sabotaged fuel depots. Scientists accelerated work on further adaptations of the disruptor technology. Every victory was a crack in the once impenetrable alien armor. Yet the invaders were relentless. In their command towers, alien generals debated fiercely. "They adapt too quickly," one hissed. "Their resilience is unlike any species we have faced." Another snarled, "Destroy them all or perish trying." They unleashed waves of mind-controlled shock troops, cybernetically enhanced warriors bred for killing, immune to fear or pain. But even these monsters found humans unwilling to surrender. During a fierce urban battle in the ruins of Buenos Aires, Maya witnessed firsthand what made humanity unique. Cornered and outnumbered, a group of survivors refused to give up their last holdout. A teacher, a mechanic, and a child joined fighters in a desperate defense, turning rubble into barricades and hope. When alien shock troops charged, they met not just resistance, but fury. The teacher hurled Molotov cocktails, the mechanic rigged explosives, and the child, eyes bright with defiance, shouted, "You won't take our home!" It was a moment that echoed around the world. Humans fought with heart, with soul, and they would never back down. The tide was turning. The alien fleet, once confident and imposing, was now fractured and wary. Humanity had learned to exploit weaknesses, to strike with precision and unpredictability. But the war was far from over. As Maya climbed into her fighter for another mission, she looked to the stars. "We've made them bleed," she whispered. "But the real fight, our fight, is just beginning." The alien fleet had expected Earth to be a single battlefield, a planet to conquer and subdue. They had not anticipated humans taking the fight to the stars themselves. Months of brutal combat had taught humanity harsh lessons, and now, armed with new technology and unbreakable resolve, they were ready to hit the invaders where it hurt most, beyond Earth's atmosphere. Inside the command center of the Earth Defense Coalition's lunar base, a buzz of activity filled the room. The moon, once a silent sentinel in the night sky, had become humanity's forward operating post. General Amina Rao stood before a star map dotted with red markers, alien outposts and supply hubs scattered through the solar system. Our intelligence shows the aliens rely heavily on lunar facilities and asteroid mining colonies to sustain their fleet, she explained. If we cripple those, we cut their lifeline. Maya, now a seasoned pilot and squadron leader, listened intently. Her squadron had been selected for a daring mission, a strike team to infiltrate and sabotage the largest alien base on the moon's far side. The mission was risky. The alien defenses on the moon were fierce, with automated turrets, drone patrols, and energy shields that flickered like a living wall. Maya's team prepared meticulously, adapting their fighters with stealth tech and weapons optimized for close-quarters combat. Remember, Maya briefed her pilots, this isn't just about destruction. It's about sending a message. We're not hiding. We fight on their turf now. As the squadron approached the moon, the alien base erupted with defensive fire. Explosions peppered the dark lunar surface. Maya led the charge, weaving through a gauntlet of laser blasts and missile salvos. Jamal and Elena flanked her, their fighters dancing with lethal precision. Inside the base, Kaido coordinated electronic attacks, hacking alien systems to create chaos and disable defenses. The squadron's fighters crashed through the energy shields, unleashing a barrage that shattered power generators and communication arrays. Inside the crumbling control tower, human commandos deployed, their boots stirring lunar dust as they set charges to disable mining operations and fuel depots. But the aliens were quick to respond. From deep caverns beneath the base emerged cybernetic shock troops, fierce and unrelenting. The humans fought desperately, every second a battle for survival. Maya faced down a towering enemy soldier in a brutal hand-to-hand fight, her training and grit narrowly winning the day. As explosions ripped through the base, the humans knew their mission had succeeded, but the cost was heavy. With critical systems destroyed and the base in flames, Maya's squadron made a harrowing retreat, pursued by alien interceptors. The fight spilled into lunar orbit, where ragged ships dodged and fired in a deadly dance against the backdrop of stars and Earth's distant blue glow. Elena's fighter took a hit, spiraling toward the moon's surface. Maya dove to cover her escape, exchanging fire with pursuers until Elena's craft escaped safely. Back on Earth, news of the successful moon strike electrified a battered humanity. The alien fleet, previously unchallenged beyond Earth's atmosphere, now faced a formidable enemy, unafraid to strike at its heart. Underground bunkers and ruined cities erupted with celebrations, hope rekindled amid the shadows of war. But the victory also sent a clear message to the invaders. Earth was no longer a captive world. Humans were hunters now, not prey. From lunar bases to asteroid belts, humanity would fight for every inch of space. As Maya gazed at Earth from the moon's surface, its fragile blue glow surrounded by the vast darkness, she felt a renewed determination. "We've taken the fight beyond our home," she said quietly. "And we're only getting started." Victory tasted bitter. The Earth Defense Coalition's strike on the alien lunar base had dealt a crushing blow to the invaders, but the cost was etched deep into humanity's soul. Across the shattered planet, casualties mounted. Entire cities lay in ruin. Families were torn apart, their homes reduced to ash. The war was no longer a distant battle. It was an everyday reality, a relentless storm that spared no one. In a dimly lit medical ward beneath the ruins of Paris, Maya sat beside the bed of Jamal, his body broken but spirit unyielding. Sorry I couldn't protect you," Maya whispered, gripping his hand. Jamal smiled weakly. You did more than protect me. You gave us all hope. It was a small moment of light amid the darkness, a reminder of what they fought for. But hope alone wouldn't win the war. Back in the Coalition's hidden labs, scientists unveiled a secret weapon, a massive energy pulse device designed to disable the alien fleet's entire command network in one decisive strike. The weapon's promise was clear. It could end the war. But there was a catch. To deploy the pulse, a ship had to fly within the heart of the alien fleet, right into the jaws of destruction. It was a suicide mission. In the command center, General Rao gathered her leaders. The room was heavy with silence. We have the weapon, Rao said. But we need volunteers willing to carry it into the enemy's stronghold. Maya's eyes met Rao's. She knew the weight of the decision. I'll go, Maya said quietly. The room held its breath. Training began immediately. Maya and a small crew prepared for a mission that could change the course of history or end in tragedy. They trained relentlessly, knowing the odds were grim, but the stakes too high to hesitate. Meanwhile, on Earth, the cost of resistance rippled through every corner. Families waited anxiously for news. Leaders made impossible decisions about resource allocation and civilian evacuations. Refugee camps overflowed. Amid it all, humanity's spirit remained unbroken. The day of the mission dawned cold and clear. Maya's ship, packed with the pulse, device slipped through space cloaked by stealth tech. The alien fleet loomed ahead, vast, impenetrable, a fortress of metal and fire. As they approached, alarms blared on the ship. Alien interceptors swarmed, cutting off any hope of a quiet approach. Maya's crew fought fiercely, dodging and weaving through hailstorms of laser fire. The pulse device primed. Maya gave the order to engage the core of the fleet. The ship surged forward, diving into the enemy heart. Explosions rocked the hull. Systems flickered and failed. At the last moment, Maya transmitted a message. For Earth, for all who fight, we do not back down. The pulse detonated. A shockwave rippled through the alien fleet, disabling their command systems and throwing their forces into chaos. The victory was monumental, but the cost was devastating. Maya's ship was lost, swallowed by the destruction. It wrought. Her sacrifice became a beacon, a symbol of humanity's resolve. Back on Earth, survivors mourned, but also celebrated. The war had taken so much, but it had also revealed something essential. No matter the cost, humans fight with every ounce of their being. They endure, they resist, and they never back down. The shock wave from the pulse weapon rippled through the alien fleet like a thunderclap, crippling their command networks and scattering their forces into disarray. But the victory came at a heartbreaking cost. Maya's ship was lost in the blast, swallowed by the very weapon she'd delivered. Her sacrifice became a legend, whispered in bunkers and broadcast in messages of hope to the battered survivors of Earth. In the ruins of New York City, General Amina Rao stood before a crowd of weary but determined faces, soldiers, scientists, volunteers, and refugees. The world was broken, but the spirit of humanity was unyielding. We've suffered, yes, Rao said, her voice steady, but we've dealt a blow they never expected. We have shown the universe that humanity fights back. We will rebuild. We will rise. Across the planet, people answered the call. Cities once scarred by bombs and fire now buzzed with reconstruction. Engineers repurposed alien tech, scavenged from the battlefields. Farmers worked tirelessly to restore crops to the devastated fields. Children laughed again in makeshift schools, taught by those who refused to let hope die. In the new lunar base, engineers worked to expand humanity's foothold beyond Earth. The moon was no longer just a defensive outpost. It was becoming a launching point for humanity's next moves. Among the engineers was Kaido, the tech specialist who had once coordinated electronic attacks from orbit. He was now leading a team focused on reverse engineering alien propulsion systems, technology that could let humans strike faster and farther than ever before. "Imagine a fleet that can chase them into deep space," Kaido said during a briefing. "One that doesn't just defend Earth, but takes the fight to their home." In the skies above, new squadrons trained rigorously. The Earth Defense Coalition was no longer a ragtag force but a unified military, diverse, determined, and deadly. Jamal, recovering from his injuries, returned to active duty, his eyes sharper than ever. "We've been pushed to the edge," he said, "but now it's our turn to push back." But the aliens were far from defeated. Their command systems might be crippled, but their hatred burned brighter than ever. As their scattered fleets regrouped, they sent shock waves through intercepted communications, a chilling warning of a devastating counterattack. The aliens knew that if Earth's forces grew stronger, the conquest of humanity would slip from their grasp forever. Back on Earth, General Rao convened an emergency council. "We must prepare," she said. "They will strike where we are weakest. We must be ready." Plans were made to fortify key cities and spaceports. Intelligence teams scoured for signs of enemy movements. Scientists raced to enhance weaponry and defenses. In the midst of it all, a new spark of hope arrived, a message from an unexpected source. A captured alien defector, a former officer disillusioned with the war, offered critical intelligence. They revealed the location of a hidden alien command center deep in the asteroid belt, a potential weak point that, if targeted, could cripple the invaders' entire operation. Maya's sacrifice had ignited a fire in humanity, a fire that would not be quenched. As the Earth Defense Coalition prepared for its boldest mission yet, the message was clear. Humanity had risen from the ashes of defeat, and now they would fight not just to survive, but to reclaim the stars. The shockwave from the pulse weapon rippled through the alien fleet like a thunderclap, crippling their command networks and scattering their forces into disarray. But the victory came at a heartbreaking cost. Maya's ship was lost in the blast, swallowed by the very weapon she'd delivered. Her sacrifice became a legend, whispered in bunkers and broadcast in messages of hope to the battered survivors of Earth. In the ruins of New York City, General Amina Rao stood before a crowd of weary but determined faces, soldiers, scientists, volunteers, and refugees. The world was broken, but the spirit of humanity was unyielding. "We've suffered, yes," Rao said, her voice steady. "But we've dealt a blow they never expected. We have shown the universe that humanity fights back. We will rebuild. We will rise." Across the planet, people answered the call. Cities once scarred by bombs and fire now buzzed with reconstruction. Engineers repurposed alien tech scavenged from the battlefields. Farmers worked tirelessly to restore crops to the devastated fields. Children laughed again in makeshift schools, taught by those who refused to let hope die. In the new lunar base, engineers worked to expand humanity's foothold beyond Earth. The moon was no longer just a defensive outpost. It was becoming a launching point for humanity's next moves. Among the engineers was Kaito, the tech specialist who had once coordinated electronic attacks from orbit. He was now leading a team focused on reverse engineering alien propulsion systems, technology that could let humans strike faster and farther than ever before. "Imagine a fleet that can chase them into deep space," Kaito said during a briefing. "One that doesn't just defend Earth, but takes the fight to their home." In the skies above, new squadrons trained rigorously. The Earth Defense Coalition was no longer a ragtag force, but a unified military, diverse, determined, and deadly. Jamal, recovering from his injuries, returned to active duty, his eyes sharper than ever. "We've been pushed to the edge," he said, "but now it's our turn to push back." But the aliens were far from defeated. Their command systems might be crippled, but their hatred burned brighter than ever. As their scattered fleets regrouped, they sent shockwaves through intercepted communications, a chilling warning of a devastating counterattack. The aliens knew that if Earth's forces grew stronger, the conquest of humanity would slip from their grasp forever. Back on Earth, General Rao convened an emergency council. "We must prepare," she said. "They will strike where we are weakest. We must be ready." Plans were made to fortify key cities and spaceports. Intelligence teams scoured for signs of enemy movements. Scientists raced to enhance weaponry and defenses. In the midst of it all, a new spark of hope arrived. A message from an unexpected source. A captured alien defector, a former officer disillusioned with the war, offered critical intelligence. They revealed the location of a hidden alien command center deep in the asteroid belt. A potential weak point that, if targeted, could cripple the invaders' entire operation. Maya's sacrifice had ignited a fire in humanity, a fire that would not be quenched. As the Earth Defense Coalition prepared for its boldest mission yet, the message was clear. Humanity had risen from the ashes of defeat, and now they would fight not just to survive, but to reclaim the stars. The explosion that shattered the alien command hub echoed across the solar system, a beacon signaling the beginning of the end. The once mighty invaders were scattered and leaderless, their fleets crippled, and their strategies in ruins. Earth's forces, battered but unbroken, seized the moment to push forward. Back on Earth, the skies were clearer, for the first time in years. The stars shone brighter without the constant shadow of alien warships. Cities began to rebuild from their scars, their people emboldened by victory and sacrifice. In the bustling command center at the lunar base, General Amina Rao received the triumphant transmission from the Phoenix, her voice steady but charged with relief. The mission was a success. The alien command network is destroyed. Her eyes lingered on the stars beyond the window, remembering the countless lives lost and the bravery that had carried humanity through. Jamal, Elena, and Kaido stood alongside Rao, veterans of the war whose stories would become legend. They looked toward the future, a future their sacrifices had helped secure. "Do you think they'll come back?" Elena asked quietly. Rao shook her head, a firm conviction in her voice. "Maybe, but we'll be ready. We've learned too much, and we've grown too strong." Across Earth, people held memorials for those who had given everything, the pilots who never returned, the civilians who stood firm in the darkest hours, the scientists and engineers who turned alien technology into tools of salvation. Among them was Maya, whose courage had become the rallying cry for a planet determined not to yield. Statues were erected, stories told, and her final message engraved in every heart: "We do not back down." With the alien fleet fractured and retreating, humanity turned its gaze outward, not with fear, but with hope and determination. New spaceports rose on Earth and the Moon, launching missions to reclaim lost colonies and explore further reaches of the solar system. Earth's military evolved into a force not only for defense, but for exploration and protection of all human settlements. In a quiet moment aboard the lunar base, Kaido worked on integrating alien technology with human designs. "We're no longer just survivors," he said. "We're pioneers." Jamal smiled, watching a video feed of children playing beneath the rebuilt domes on Mars. A new generation, born of war, but destined for peace. General Rao addressed the coalition for the last time before transitioning leadership to a new generation of commanders. "We fought for our planet, for our people, for our right to exist," she said. "Now we stand united, stronger than ever. This war tested us, but it did not break us. It made us who we are." As the sun rose over Earth, its golden light spilled across oceans and mountains, cities and forests. A planet reborn. Humanity had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, scarred but undefeated. The alien invasion was over, but the story of humanity, its relentless spirit, its refusal to surrender, was only just beginning. The stars awaited.